Happy Wednesday to everyone out there in the digital world. Welcome into the UDDA Winner podcast. I am Dan Black. Joining me as always is SportyJordy. Jordy, how we doing today?
I'm doing very great. How are you doing today? I know you're on vacation right now.
I am on vacation. We are live from a hotel room in New Mexico tonight. So
that is a lot more exciting than what I have going on here.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. It's a very pretty state. I highly recommend anybody who has a chance to travel out to this, what's this place called? New Mexico. Definitely do it because New Mexico is it's a very forgotten state. I can definitely say that. Like no one thinks about Well, it's because you're in between, Colorado or Texas is right next to you on one side, Arizona's on the other side, Colorado's above you. It's just no love for New Mexico.
And I know you're going horseback riding tomorrow. We are very excited to see that content.
I know. I don't know. My fear is I don't know how I can control a horse while also holding my phone. That is my fear.
No, I feel like it's gonna be tricky. That's definitely a little complicated.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to plan this content out really well tonight and just figure it out because the last thing I need is any injuries.
No, that's something we definitely don't want.
No, that would not be good. Don't need any broken ribs or anything for the near future. But anyway, Wednesday night podcast. Let's get into it. NFL. We're gonna jump and start right there. It was obviously a huge week in the NFL this past week, and for you and I on our weekly money line bet,
you're creeping up to me.
I'm inching. Slowly but surely, you have a 2-game lead on me. Jordan went 3-2 last week. I went 4-1. She is 17-2, and that elusive 1 tie. I am 15-10 on the season. So, this weekend, Week 14 could be a huge, huge game changer for us in terms of our betting. So that's huge. But let's jump right into our winners and losers. There's a recap this past week. Also, before we get into that, actually, don't forget Gridiron games, plenty of them for the NFL this weekend. Lots of opportunities for you to win some beauty bucks, win some real hard cash. So make sure you join the Gridiron games and download the UDDA app and join those games today if you can. So let's talk about winners and losers from Week 13. I would say the winners, the number one is the Lions because they finally won. They just did what
made me so beyond happy just because I've been a person. Now, the Lions against the spread have been incredible all season.
Oh, yeah.
Their games have been kept. They've been so close. I'm the type of person, I have been picking the Lions every single week, betting wise, waiting for the 1 week that they actually pull it out and win. And this week, in incredible fashion, got it done with double zeros on the clock. It was absolutely incredible. I loved everything about it. Seeing their celebration and how happy they were. They celebrated like they won the freaking Super Bowl. With popping champagne and hugging each other. It was just so heartwarming to see. And it does kind of show that they are moving in the right direction and they're not trying to tank. They want to build something for this team moving forward. So it was just very good to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was almost sad in a way with how they celebrated because it's you won 1 game against Kirk Cousins. It's Week 14, not the Super Bowl. But no, I mean, like Dan Campbell especially because he was a guy that I felt everyone had mixed reviews on, especially after the knee biting comments and all that weird stuff going on with him,
and then attacking Jared Goff and then crying. There was a lot. He's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, he's a roller coaster kind of guy. But you felt good that he finally got one win under his belt, got that huge monkey off your back, especially for a new coach. Every week you go without a win, it's just, and especially for a team that historically has been terrible, that hires and fires coaches. It's nothing. I'm sure by the time he got to week 11. He was thinking, I may show up to the facility Tuesday, and my card won't work to get in,
Yeah.
type of thing. Like, and so it feels good when those types of people finally get their victory. And like, it at least solidifies that, like you said, they're going somewhere. Like, normally when you see a team finally win one game in week 14, you're like, oh, the coach is going to get fired, no doubt. I don't think that's the case because the players truly do like him. I just truly don't think they have a lot of talent. And like, a coach can only work with what they have.
Yeah, no, and in their defense, yes, you brought in Jared Goff, but all of their receivers that were free agents, they didn't re-sign any of their receivers to come back. When you looked at their depth chart early on in this season, right before it started in the early couple weeks, it was next to empty. They didn't have any
Yeah.
depth. They weren't really worried about it. So, like, yeah, you bring in Jared Goff, but like, you have TJ Hawkinson, who's a young stud, but you really don't have anybody else around on this offense to try and kind of make something happen. So I don't really know what their expectations were, what anyone's expectations were. I wasn't surprised that the Lions weren't winning. So I think what you need to take from this point moving forward is Dan Campbell wants this team to win, and he is doing everything he can to make it happen and coming very, very close in all of these games. And then you have Jared Goff, who's not giving up on this team. And you do have some glimpses of young talent, specifically, especially in TJ Hawkinson. So I think right now for the Lions, it's going to be about bringing in more talent, whether it's veteran receivers, veteran running backs, or if you go out and draft young guys. I mean, you're going to have realistically probably the first pick in this draft. Whatever you choose to do with it, whether you trade out and then load up on some draft capital and kind of go for it that way, or if you're going out there and you're getting, I know there's an incredible defensive end coming out. Things like that are going to help you build. Yeah. Things like that are going to help you build your team from the ground up. So I really think if the Lions can kind of keep up this mentality where they're still in every single game, and then they go out and they start making smart decisions in free agency and in the draft, then they're going to be in a decent position a lot quicker than anyone expects them to.
Yeah, but they're the Lions, so.
But they're the Lions,
yeah. I mean, listen. They've been bad for 50 years. Like,
yeah.
We're getting excited over one win. They've been bad for 50 years. Like, it greater heartens my belief. And this is not a hot take. I don't believe it's a hot take, but this is my belief of, like, if you are painfully bad as a franchise for 20 years, you should have to sell the team, no matter what the sport is. That is my belief.
Oh
that
my
if you create a product, and granted, it's different in the NFL because, like, it literally doesn't matter. People will watch. Like, I'm sure there's still a waiting list for Lions tickets until about
definitely.
week 14.
They still have loyal fans, which is
like
mind-boggling to me.
So it really doesn't matter. But, like, for me as a consumer, and as if I was putting myself in the position of a Lions fan, like, I would absolutely believe that, like, if you're painstakingly bad for 20 years, you should have to sell the team. Because if you can't get it right, especially in a league like the NFL where they literally consistently give you opportunities to draft high if you're bad, and you still can't do it for 20 years, like, there's something wrong with you.
Especially, like, when they had good pieces over the years. Like, they had talented guys, and we saw what happens when guys leave Detroit and end up on other teams, and then you start seeing a star in them. So maybe it really is just an organization that's doomed to fail and kind of has been failing for a very, very long time. There are a couple other winners from week 13, though.
Your boy.
I want to talk Justin Herbert. Is that who we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he finally, and this is so ironic because this is the first week in about 3 or 4 weeks that I actually picked against him. And I was like, you know what? I love him. I'm rooting for him, but the Bengals are just too good. I was putting them in dark horse Super Bowl conversations. I was like, the Bengals are just too strong. I think it's going to be a very close game, but the Bengals are going to get the upper hand here. And Justin Herbert was like, you know what, Jordan? Since you've given up on me this week, I'm going to come out and I'm going to win it. I'm going to have an incredible game. But I was not upset to see that at all. I love to see him succeed. I love to see the Chargers win. What really shocked me, though, were the Steelers and the Seahawks, because those were two divisional games. I had both of those teams completely written off. I thought there
Yeah.
was zero, and like, I shouldn't have gotten that in that mindset, because you really never know with divisional games, especially in these two divisions. But in my mind, the Seahawks have been terrible for the last
Horrible.
couple of weeks. Horrible. They haven't, there's been like no bright lights for them or bright anything from them. And the 49ers were a team that's been surging, and they've been kind of figuring it out and getting back into a groove. And then you have the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and we have all this talk of Ben Roethlisberger, this being his last season, and he's been very I mean, this season and the last couple seasons. So I was like, Ravens got this in the bag, 49ers got this in the bag, and then the Steelers and Seahawks came out and looked fantastic and completely got the upper hand. So that was fun to watch too. I love, especially when both of those divisions are like, every team is only like a game or two behind. So when things are that close and we're getting so close to playoff implications, meaning so much, it was so exciting. So I love to see that.
And I love when Russell Wilson does well.
Yeah, I can't root against Russell Wilson.
Yeah. No, but the Ravens losing to the Steelers kind of shocked me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's been going on with Lamar Jackson and what's been going on with the Ravens in general. I don't know if it's just sort of the same thing, that they just don't have a lot of talent offensively, which, listen, for the entirety of the history of the Baltimore Ravens, they haven't had very good offenses. Like, what have they been around for 25 years? Name one good wide receiver that they drafted. So like, it has been shocking. I think he's hurt. Like, I think something he just seems so off.
Because we saw the first half of the season when, like, they haven't had talent all season. It's not like the injuries started halfway through. The injuries started before the season even started.
Right.
So, and then you saw Lamar going out there and carrying this team solely on his back. And now you see him, the interceptions are just getting worse and worse. And it's this inconsistency and this sloppy play that kind of came out of nowhere. And I keep thinking it's a phase, and he's going to get out of it. But he doesn't seem to be able to shake it. So I hope, not that I hope he's injured. And like, I would never say that. He's one of my favorite players in the entire league. I love to see him do well, but I kind of hope he is, because then it gives it, like, it makes sense to me as to why he kind of has this quick downfall. And knowing him, he's not one to give up on his team. Like, he will go out there and do anything. So he could be playing through some injury that we're not fully aware of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only, and listen, it's December 8th, so it's very likely that he's playing injured in some capacity.
Yeah.
But also I think he's probably just doing too much.
Especially when he has been the team all season long.
No, literally, he's probably just doing too much. Like, that's really the only answer. Let's talk about losers. One of them being, I also want to talk about one more winner before we do that. One more winner. Gardner Minshew.
Yes!
Minshew Mania. Back again.
Do you think we have a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia?
Move on. Next, losers.
We're not even discussing it. Jalen Hurts is QB1, but it was great to see Gardner Minshew have a great game. That's what I don't understand, why it's so hard for the Philadelphia media to accept that it's okay to have a backup quarterback. Like, the whole everyone needs a backup quarterback to do exactly what Gardner Minshew did this week.
Because they thrive, their ratings literally thrive off of
the
controversy. Drama. And you know that some random dude is going to call and be like, yeah, Gardner Minshew, he's the next Nick Foles. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. You know that's happening. I haven't been home.
I see people all over my Twitter feed. People are fighting, why wouldn't you name Gardner Minshew your starter? I'm like, why would we? Why would we do that? I love to see Gardner Minshew have a great game. I like cried when Gardner Minshew came to Philly. I asked for a Gardner Minshew jersey for Christmas. I love him, but he is not my QB1. I want someone that we can build a whole team around, and that is Jalen Hurts. Thank you. Let's talk about some losers before we get way too tied up into that conversation. Who was your biggest loser of week 13?
Well, one, apparently that you cried when Gardner Minshew, of all people, got signed to the. It's not Michael Jordan.
Oh, I was literally, you should have seen my phone that morning. I was actually on vacation. I went to visit my friend's college in Ohio. So I'm right outside of Cleveland. Had a little too much fun the night before, slept until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I wake up to my phone, like you could scroll through text messages of everyone congratulating me. And I was like, what is I was like, what happened? And then finally someone was like, Gardner Minshew to Philly. And everyone knew how much I loved him and how big of a deal it was going to be for me. So I had all these people reaching out to me like, congrats, you must be so happy. And I really was. I was the happiest person ever on that morning.
There we go. Okay, lose to week 13.
It felt like Michael Jordan came to Philly. Like, that's how big of a deal it was for me.
Losers of week 13, aside from Jordan. Vikings for losing to the Lions, who were winless.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, definitely the Vikings. And in their defense, like, the Lions were up the whole time. The Vikings did what they had to do to come back and get ahead. And then Lions just made incredible plays at the end of the game to seal the deal. And Vikings defense, who's been struggling for the last couple of seasons, just really wasn't able to respond. So yeah, Vikings were losers. And I don't even know. I guess we can say the Texans, but the Texans are kind of losers every single week. So like, I don't even know if they really count. Do we put the Bills in this conversation?
We can get.
Do we dare? Because that was so. I had a feeling Patriots were winning that game. I took the Patriots money line in that game. I just had a feeling they're literally too strong. But it's not like the Bills played bad, and that was one of the worst weather games I have seen like ever. I saw the kickers before the game trying to kick, and the ball would literally like stop and levitate midair and then like take a hard right. Like, so in that sense, I don't know if we can really blame, like, everyone did the best they could. The Patriots just got the upper hand in the end.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call them losers. I would just say that Bill Belichick is like
the best ever.
The GOAT. Like, he's goated. Like, he's the best.
He really is.
No, and I mean, like, no, I think, we could talk about the game, I guess. Yeah, let's talk about the game.
All right.
The Bills, I mean, listen, they were the more talented team. They got out coached, and I mean, I was looking through Bill's Twitter, and they were all blaming this, the defense. They were blaming that. It's like, listen, they got in the red zone like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
they scored 10 points. Like, that's what happens when you don't have a run game and you play in a cold weather city. That's a problem. Like you have to. The reason the Patriots have had so much success under Bill Belichick is because they run the ball and they play defense.
Did you
really
see
well.
Mac Jones' stats for that game?
Yes, 3 passes.
3 passes for 19 yards, and you won.
Yeah. No, and it's because the Bills, I think, came in one with. I mean, this was probably the biggest regular season Bills game in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think they just came in very confident, overconfident, and I think still believed that they could play somewhat of the stuff. I mean, I think they definitely ran the ball more than they normally do.
Yeah. I took Josh Allen. I had Josh Allen over 36.5 rushing yards, and that hit. He had 39.
I mean, that's not surprising. But that's the other. Like,
really, they don't have the run game. Like, he is their run game, which is
they don't have
like that.
Right. They don't have much of a run game, and I think that they have some decent running backs. I just don't think they have the right kind of running backs for that situation. They need like a LeGarrette Blount sort of bruising, just, pick up 3 or 4 yards and then drag someone for another couple type of running back. But yeah, I mean, it's just like they didn't, and it's so they didn't prepare, it seemed, very well, despite like knowing what this is. Like, it's not their first time in Buffalo. They play there all the time. They know it's good.
They have the home field advantage, even in that situation. And granted, for the Patriots, it's not like it was that much of a disadvantage to play in this weather situation because they play in New England. So it's not like Bill Belichick didn't know how to handle something like this. He's been in this situation
Correct.
hundreds of times. I mean, we know how New England games go, but it just seems like they were much more prepared. And the Bills, like, all the Patriots did was run the ball. Like, that's all they did. And the Bills still couldn't figure out a way to stop them. And it's like, basically every time that they're going to be running, all they did was run, and you still can't put a stop to it. Like, that was what was a little concerning to me, that the Patriots could still find a way to consistently keep breaking through. Do you know how hard it is to run the ball when the defense consistently knows that you're going to be running the ball? Like, it's normally so easy to stop when it's that predictable, and yet they still made it happen. So and it was a boring game because it was so defensive, but at the same time, I kind of loved it.
It was fun.
It was sloppy backyard football. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it was a good game that wasn't a good game, but whatever. But no, and it certainly, I mean, listen, the Patriots are now very much in first place and are going to be rolling, it seems, to the playoffs. And the Bills, listen, they have a tough task ahead this week. They're in Tampa Bay going against Tom Brady. Speaking of which, we got Bills Mafia again for all our Bills Mafia fans out there. Jason Tartick's Bills Mafia contest. We still have that going until, for the rest of, as long as the Bills are playing, we have it going on throughout the regular season and playoffs.
I'm not giving up on the Bills yet.
No,
I still think the Bills are the real deal.
Me too. Yeah, no, I still very much believe in the Bills, despite what Bills Twitter is saying that that they should blow this thing up and the season's over. It's like, you guys were terrible for 20 years. Like, this is what happened.
They have all they need. If the Bills go into this draft, or if the Bills attack free agents in this offseason, just get running backs. That's all you need. And you are 100% Super Bowl contenders. I'm convinced that they can still potentially even be in the AFC Championship game. Potentially even, you know what? I'm not even saying potentially. I still put the Bills in Super Bowl conversation. I'm not counting them out yet. They're still too strong of a team. It's literally just figuring out how to make a run game work for the rest of the season and then fixing it in this offseason. And the Bills are still solid.
Yes, I would agree. I still have them very much in my Super Bowl conversation because I think they are a Super Bowl caliber roster, very good team. But again, they are down in Tampa against Super Bowl champions. Maybe we'll see them play each other in the Super Bowl this year. But again, Jason Tartick, Bills Mafia prediction game this weekend. Bills and Buccaneers coming up on Sunday. Make sure you join that for all of Bills Mafia. Moving on to the collegiate ranks, we had conference championship weekend. I did not do well yet again. 2-4, not very good. Although the late games did save me. Michigan absolutely murdered Iowa, which I knew was going to happen, and Pitt beat Wake Forest pretty handily as well. Did not expect I wouldn't have covered with the Oklahoma State game, but that was an incredible ending. Also very embarrassing that you can't score on 4 tries from the 1 yard line. Classic Big 12 not being able to run the ball. Oregon got absolutely shellacked by Utah.
Yeah. No, that was so bad.
And then, we talk about what game am I missing? Big 10.
Georgia Bama.
Oh my God, of course. I was thinking of Cincinnati. Cincinnati won, thank God. And they're in the college football playoff. Good for them. Love that for Cincinnati.
We've been talking about this for weeks. They deserve it.
I'm so happy for them. And can't wait for all the contests that we have for bowl season and everything that's coming up in just a few weeks. But yeah, SEC championship game. Oh my God, Georgia.
Insane.
Still can't beat that. It's embarrassing.
It really, really is. And I was so in on Georgia, finally being able. Yeah, I was so convinced. I was like, I'm not even worried for them. Like, they have this. In my mind, they were the stronger team. And that just goes to show how incredible Nick Saban is, because he literally just outplayed them and they outsmarted them. And Bama they started behind. Like, Georgia got ahead early, and then Bama just came back and Georgia could not respond. So it was incredible to watch, but Felt very, very bad for Georgia and Georgia
Yeah.
fans.
No, I mean, like, I mean, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, we know, are the
Two of
two
the best.
greatest to do
Yeah.
what they do. And it just goes to show, like, no matter what decade, no matter what era, no matter who's doing what, like, you want to get younger at coaching, you want to do whatever, they just find a way. Like, they just find a way to win. And it's, I would be interested to see, because that Michigan Georgia game, I think Georgia will beat Michigan just because I think they're going to be pissed off. I mean, they're going to be really mad.
I'm
Because
rooting for Michigan, though.
I am too.
I
Like, I
love
would
Michigan.
I don't like Michigan, but from
Sorry.
fully a Big Ten brethren perspective, I want to root for them. But I also just want to see Georgia. I would love to see Georgia win, play Alabama, and then beat them in the championship, because
That'd be
Alabama's going to
sick.
destroy Cincinnati. They're going to murder them. But that's my hope, is that Kirby Smart just like. But I don't know how Nick Saban does it every time. He just finds a way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, no. He literally just makes it's mind-boggling to me. And I don't even know why it shocks me anymore, because it really shouldn't, but it still does.
Yeah. No, and speaking of his quarterback, he's up for the Heisman. And before we get into our Heisman chat that's coming up Saturday, we do have a Heisman contest for you, a pick four. So basically what it is that there's obviously 4 finalists for the Heisman, and all you got to do is guess the correct order of how they finish in their voting, and you win. So it's kind of hard. We don't know how they're going to finish, but we do know that one is favorite to win. So make sure you join that Heisman pick four contest. The favorite is Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. Absolute beast. Had an incredible game against Georgia. Really, really great. And everyone questioned how he would, everyone thought when he first came that he would take over, that he would be the starter instead of Mac Jones last year. He had to wait his turn. And obviously he has been tremendous. He's the favorite, but there's an interesting group of finalists. So the other 4 finalists are Kenny Pickett, who I believe broke the career touchdown record of one Dan Marino. Not a lot of great Pitt quarterbacks, but they just so happen to have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in their lineage, in Dan Marino. And Kenny Pickett, also known for his famous fake slide, which we didn't talk about, which we can in a second. But the other ones are Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end, possible first overall pick in this year's draft from Michigan, and then CJ Stroud, who has gotten better and better every game this year, the Ohio State quarterback. So a lot of, and they're all, 2 of the 4 are young guys that'll be back in the future, in CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. But who do you think is going to win before we talk about the Kenny Pickett fake slide drama?
I have my vote in for Aiden Hutchinson, just because I feel like you always want to give it to a quarterback. It's like kind of one of those things. College, it's not as bad as the NFL. They disperse it a little bit more evenly, but I don't know. To me, we haven't had a defensive guy since Chase Young back in 2019. He just stands out so much to me. And the quarterbacks, they're all great. But to me, it's not like they've done anything super, super groundbreaking that we haven't seen over the last couple of years. Like, they're all great in their own way. But to me, Aiden Hutchinson just stands out a little bit more to me. So he has my vote for this year.
No, and I think you're kind of right on with like where it is. Like, yeah, they're great, but like none of them had 50 touchdown pass. They didn't have Joe Burrow's like unreal season that he had with LSU, where they were undefeated. He had broke seemingly every single record. They were just unbelievable. They all had really good seasons, but nothing spectacular. I mean, the thing about Aiden Hutchinson is he was second in the country, I think, in sacks. So that's obviously incredible. I think it's hard, though, as a defensive player when you really only have one category, especially defensive end, that you can really stick out on. He doesn't have any interceptions. He doesn't really have any he has a couple forced fumbles. Like, he's got one stat, and it's a great stat, and he's an absolute beast. And it's going to be between him and Kayvon Thibodeau for the first overall pick in next year's draft. But I feel like they're leaning towards Bryce Young, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm leaning towards Bryce Young. And as much
Which
as I
is
want,
fair.
right, and as much as I want a defensive player to get it, but I think if Aiden Hutchinson would have had, like, 20 sacks or something just like unbelievable, where because I think that was what Chase Young was basically doing, where he had like 2 sacks a game.
Yeah.
I think to win it, I think that's the only way that a defensive end can win it, is you put up just Madden-esque numbers. Not that his numbers aren't great, but you need to put up
No,
something
yeah.
special in this day and age to beat out quarterbacks.
I hear what you're saying.
I also would love to see Kenny Pickett, even though
Yeah.
his weird fake slide happened, and that was a whole
Yeah,
controversy.
do we want to talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about that for a few minutes.
What are your thoughts about it, first off?
I'm in between on it, because like part of me is like, it's dangerous for both him and for the defender trying to, because like obviously you have to think, if you're thinking only about the quarterback, then it's fine. But if you're thinking about the defender too, like they have a random jerk and all of a sudden they have a torn ACL.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that's like, he should get in trouble, and they should have thrown a flag. Also, that they usually call it down when you start initiating your slide, and he initiated a slide. So that should have been called down, basically. On the other hand, freaking genius.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why more people didn't do that.
No, and I think that's kind of where I'm at too. And I agree with you 100%. And I think moving forward, there should be a rule change, and it should be made illegal or a penalty or whatever they decide to do. But there should definitely be some outcome, or like there should be some penalty for it. But at the same time, right now, there isn't.
Right.
So I think it's on the refs. The refs didn't call it down when he started to go down. So
Right.
in my mind, and he came out and said, he was like, yeah, it was intentional, but I didn't plan on doing it. Like, it just kind of happened in the moment for him. So I think in that aspect, I don't think we should go back. Like, there should be no penalty on him for it now, but I think moving forward, it does start the conversation of what we should do in this situation. But yeah, like, it was brilliant. It was genius. But I think
100%.
it does. I think it's too much of a risk injury wise for defensive players. And I just think it causes too many questions to kind of let it become something that can consistently happen all of the time. So I do think there should be a rule change somewhere, but I think we should just appreciate it and enjoy it for right now, because it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah. No, it was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so those are the 4 finalists. Kenny Pickett, one of them, joined by Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan, CJ Stroud, who I don't think will win it, but very good chance he wins it next year because he's an absolute animal. And then, of course, Bryce Young, the favorite. Make sure to join the Heisman Pick 4 contest for who you think will win the Heisman. Get your picks in before Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. The final topic of college football, always a big game, even though the teams necessarily aren't great. Army-Navy's this weekend.
It's still fun.
It's still fun. It's aside from like the big Michigan, Ohio States and all that kind of stuff, this game is truly passion-filled because you're not really doing it in terms of schools in the same way of like you're doing it. The passion of the fan base is nationwide, it's worldwide, because you have 2 branches of the military, and you have someone that, may not have went to the academy, but was in the Army Reserves or the Navy Reserves, that lives in Omaha, Nebraska or whatever. They didn't go to the school, but it's always such a unique experience, something I've always wanted to do since, the game usually is in Philly. I never got to go. But did you ever go to the game?
No, I've never been. It's at MetLife this year.
It is. I thought it was in Baltimore this year for some reason.
No, I'm pretty sure it's in MetLife.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it should be a an incredible game. And for it, we're doing a contest for it. So we're doing a regular pick 8, Army Navy contest. It should be really fun. We hope you join that. That the game I think kicks off at 3:00, and the contest is live tomorrow or Thursday afternoon until the game starts. But what we're also doing, as a part of the contest, the last question is: if you win the contest, where would you like UDDA to donate to a military-related charity of your choice? There's 4 choices, so you just pick the charity of your choice, and that is going on throughout the contest as well. A really great initiative, and we're really glad to do it because obviously there are a lot of great charities associated with the military, and so we try and do our part. So make sure you also are on the lookout for our charity initiative for the Army Navy game. So let's talk about the Army Navy game. 122nd meeting between these two teams. That means what year?
Wild.
So that means it was before 1900, the first game.
Yeah,
that's nuts. What went on? So pre-World War, they played like 15 times before World War I started.
That's insane.
Isn't that nuts?
It's nuts. And Army won. Last matchup was when Army won 15-0, right? That was last year.
Because they didn't play. Did they play last year?
Or was it the year? Or was that COVID?
I don't remember.
The last time that they played, I'm pretty sure it's when Army shut out Navy 15-0.
Huh.
So and now Army's on a 4-game win streak right now.
Yeah, Navy leads the series all time, but Army is pretty hot. The opening lines, let's see.
I'm pretty sure last I saw it was Army 7.5.
Yeah, it's like 7.5 because Army is by far the better team. Army runs the ball a lot. So I will tell you, I am taking the over in rushing yards for this one. And the under in the points total. Because this game is never a high-scoring game.
No, you always have to take the under in Army Navy. Always. That's been ingrained in my head my whole life.
Yes. Army Navy absolutely have to take the under. So who are you going? Are you going with Army or Navy?
Now this is one of those situations where you have to throw out actual statistics, just throw it all out the window because this is a game you really can't prep for, but at the same time, Army's team overall is so strong this year compared to Navy and just college football in general. Army's team is just good, especially that run game. So I am going to go with the favorite here. I am going to take Army. I have to.
I'll take the midshipman. I always said that if I wanted to be in the military, which I wouldn't be because I do not have the physical abilities to be in the military, that I'd be a pilot for the Navy. So there we go. We're taking Navy.
All right, here we'll go up against each other this weekend. I'm Army, you're Navy. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully it'll be a great game. Not sure what the weather is. Doesn't matter. It's always a fun environment. We will see who sings second. Make sure, if you haven't already, also to join. Well, not yet because it's not live yet. But when it's live, to join the Army Navy contest, and also to follow along throughout all our charity endeavors as well. We're really happy to be doing that and look forward to that game Saturday afternoon. Before we wrap up the show, let's head into the NBA, a big night in the NBA. Lots of games to choose from. So we went with 4. I believe I'm still winning this series.
You definitely are still winning this series. And guess what I did tonight? I picked the Sixers.
Terrible idea, personally speaking. Because there's a lot of drama going on with the Sixers right now.
There's so much
drama. But anyway, let's jump right into it. So you took the Sixers. What made you finally take the Sixers again?
Okay, so I have valid reason tonight. We beat the Hornets Monday night, and granted, it was very close in overtime, but we did that. Tobias was stepping up huge. Joel was getting back into his groove. And we did it without Tyrese Maxey. And as of this afternoon, Tyrese Maxey is cleared and he is playing tonight. He was out with an illness Monday night. So I think if we could get the upper hand on the Hornets Monday without Tyrese Maxey, it's going to be a much easier win tonight with him. I understand we're away, but I'm taking them anyway. So that is my reasoning for taking the Sixers tonight.
Okay. And I took the Knicks on the road in Indianapolis. The Pacers have basically said they're blowing up the team. They literally said they're blowing up the team. So that can't be good for morale. You know, so
a little confusing.
To me, that's a pretty easy time to take the Knicks when a team basically says we're trading everyone. I don't know what kind of pep talk they're going to give in the locker room beforehand. So yeah, that was an easy pick for me to take the Knicks.
Yeah, personally. No, I think that's fair.
All right. So the next one, I took the Heat. You took the Bulls.
Bulls. This is my hottest take of the night.
Yeah.
So I took the Bulls, and I know they're missing like half a dozen guys right now. They are riddled with injury. However, I just have this feeling that Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine are still going to be able to get it done. The Cavs, they're playing great. I can't deny that, but they're on a 2-game losing streak. So for some reason, I just have a feeling the Bulls are going to be able to get the upper hand tonight. If Ball and LaVine can just shoot, if they can just have these crazy high scoring games, the two of them, then they can take it home.
Yeah, I took the Heat, and yeah, I like that pick. I think it's bold. I like bold. I took the Heat against at home against the Bucks on the last game. The Heat did. I'm sorry. And like, this is a hard game because I love Giannis, love the Bucks.
Yeah.
But there's something I just believe the Heat at home is just a different thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have, because to me this is like a toss-up type of game. I just felt in my gut Heat at home against the Bucks has become a little bit of a rivalry, and I always choose with Pat Riley. I'm just my go-to guy. It's my guy. Love him.
That's fair.
Yeah. Raptors. Why'd you take the Raptors? Bold.
Well, okay, so they're playing the Thunder, and the Thunder is coming off of their 73-point loss, which I believe that's like the worst in NBA history. So they did start, they broke their losing streak though, and they got a couple of wins. I still think they're going to start another losing streak tonight with the Raptors. Toronto, like, it literally came down to Toronto has 14th ranked offense, where the Thunder has the 30th ranked offense. So I just think the Raptors are going to be able to completely outscore them here. And that's why I went with the Raptors.
Fair enough. I went with the Grizzlies, the aforementioned Grizzlies. They coming off a big win on the road in Miami, back home against Dallas. And obviously, like you said, they shellacked.
Yeah, no, that was actually, I thought it was fake. Like, I thought it was Photoshop because I didn't watch I didn't watch the game, but I saw it after and I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah, that was disgusting. Their offense has been rolling, 6th in the league in points per game. They've been rebounding the ball really well. So I think the Grizzlies have finally found their groove. I think they're on their way to something special. And I'm a huge Ja Morant guy. I loved him coming out of college. And I just don't believe in Dallas as a real challenge until they get someone else for Luka Doncic. And so I think, obviously these guys are two young studs. I just think that the Grizzlies are a more put together team and don't have to rely on just Ja Morant. And so for that reason, I have to go with the Grizzlies.
No.
And finally, the worst game of the night by far, Wizards and Pistons. We both went with the Wizards.
This was an easy one for me. Pistons have lost their last 9 games.
I don't know. They've lost a lot.
Yeah, and I understand they're in this rebuilding period and it's going to take them some time to figure it out. And that's fine. The Wizards aren't a perfect team. They've struggled a lot on offense this season, but at the end of the day, this should be a very easy win for them tonight.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I there's nothing redeemable about the Pistons.
Yeah.
That's just it. Like there's nothing else. Before we wrap things up, your bet of also we have NBA. We have an NBA contest as well live. So make sure if you haven't joined that already, that's going until the 13th. We're gonna have that every single week for the rest of the season. So don't worry about it. It's there, but don't forget to join that. Before we end things tonight, bet of the weekend. It's only Wednesday, but looking ahead to the weekend, what's like your surefire any sport you're like guaranteed lock?
So I am going with an NFL divisional matchup, which apparently after last weekend, I should probably stick away from, but I'm going with it anyway. The Packers are taking on the Bears. The Bears are going to be in Lambeau. This to me is a lock for the Packers. They have just been rolling. They're one of the strongest teams in the NFL right now. And the Bears, they're starting to figure it out, but they've had Justin Fields. He's been injured the last couple of weeks. They've been rolling with Andy Dalton. I just don't think they stand a chance against the Packers right now. I thought this, and then I was like, where is this game? And I saw it was in Lambeau, and I was like, yeah, this is 100% my lock of the weekend. Packers over the Bears.
It's a tough one for me because there's a couple that I'm looking at, and this one I think is a pretty strong lock, but like there's a bit of me that's on it. That's the Broncos minus 8.5 over the Lions. The Lions have kept things close.
Close, yeah. I like the Broncos to win, but I think I would take the Lions to cover.
I don't know. Because like Denver weather,
That's true.
especially I don't know how the run game is going to be with Detroit. Remember, they played a really banged up Vikings team. They had no one but Kirk Cousins. So you think Mile High could be a little bit snowy. They haven't really played in that situation yet. I have a feeling that the Broncos are going to come out at home, and this is the other thing. Anytime a team that doesn't win much wins, they're always way too confident.
Yeah.
And so that's the other reason I like the Broncos in this. So I think Broncos minus 8.5. Do it. And
I like it.
We'll see. I like it. Who knows? Should be a great weekend. Don't forget to join all of our great contests and download the Get app so you can do that. And of course, make sure to follow us on all our social medias, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, Twitter at UDDA_Winner. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend of sports, and we will talk to you next time. Au revoir.
Love to see it. Bye, guys.